Joining me now is Robert Greenwald, founder and president of Brave New Films. He is also the producer of the new documentary Rethink Afghanistan. Mr. Greenwald, good to have you with us tonight. I appreciate your time.
Sure.
Why do you think Republicans want the media to quit covering this movement?
Well, I think that they're terrified, Ed, because what we're seeing is a real social movement. And social movements sweep politicians out of their way. Think about it. The peace movement, the civil rights movement, the women's movement, the labor movement, none of them stood still for hack politicians. They talked about what they needed to talk about. They talked about moral issues, and they went after it strongly and firmly. And politicians damn well better run, because when the people's anger is unleashed on the right targets, which is the 1%, then we see social change.
Are you think the Republicans are more concerned about the protesters or the message that continually is getting the coverage?
Well, I think it's the message, because it's brilliant messaging, right? 99%. What are these politicians going to do? They're going to say we want 1% to elect us. We want the Koch brothers and we want Rupert Murdoch. That's our constituency. That's who we're representing. In fact, tomorrow in New York, there's going to be a march on Murdoch's home and the Koch brothers' home and others' home, so that we begin to identify who are these 1%, who are the war profiteers and the people, the millionaires and the billionaires, who are trying to control the rest of our country. And what we're seeing, Ed, really is pure, beautiful democracy at work.
Herman Cain slammed the protesters on Sunday. Here's what he had to say. Let's watch it.
It's anti-American because to protest Wall Street and the bankers is basically saying that you're anti-capitalism. The free market system and capitalism are two of the things that have allowed this nation and this economy to become the biggest in the world. Even though we have our challenges, I believe that the protests are more anti-capitalism and anti-free market than anything else.
Robert, what's your response to that soundbite?
Well, I think, look, the more slams there are, Ed, the better it is, because the more the social movement grows. Sticks and stones can hurt my bones, but, you know, I mean, all those childish kind of slanderings are an indication that this is really catching on. It's really getting people's attention. There's real concern and there's real fear, which means that the 99%ers are doing exactly the right thing and doing it in the right way.
Do you think the 99% could be more of a political force than what we saw at the Tea Party? I mean, the Tea Party obviously had an influence on the midterms last November 2010, and we're a year away. And are these voters, I mean, are these people that are going to engage in the process? And do you think that this could be a greater political force than the Tea Party?
Well, I think what's important, again, is remember, this is a social movement. It's not about narrow partisan divisions. It's really about changing the way people of all political persuasions think about issues, work on issues, and talk about issues. And from that point of view, I think they've absolutely hit the sweet spot of our country, talking about the home, have no jobs, are spending $1 trillion on a war, when 1% of this country, 1%, Ed, has billions and millions of dollars, and their greed will never stop. The bankers' greed doesn't stop. Wall Street greed doesn't stop. We see today that Wall Street is expecting bigger bonuses than ever this year, while tens of thousands of people are losing their homes. That's a profound issue, and that's a social movement which exceeds, if you will, any kind of narrow political way of looking at it. And that's why some of these politicians are absolutely terrified, and they should be.
Robert Greenwald, always a pleasure. Good to have you with us tonight on The Ed Show. Thanks for your views.